Howdy, howdy. Welcome on into the pre-show before the free show.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everybody. I'm your Cub reporter, Greg Tepper. Mallory Hartley sitting in for Ashley Pickle, who's on vacation.
Hello, hello.
She's not on vacation. She's actually
No, she's working.
She's working. She's like out of town working and stuff like that. But here on the, we've Mallory, you're great, and we're always glad whenever you hop on the show.
Correct.
But I think you can agree that we do need a little bit of star power. And so here we're joined by, what's your name?
Hank.
Hank. Can you hear yourself?
Yes.
What's your last name?
Woo!
Tepper.
Okay. How old are you?
Whoa. Same last name.
Whoa, what?
Whoa.
Wait
a second. Your last name? Is
What's
his
my
last name?
Tepper.
What's your last name?
Tepper.
And so, who are you?
Hank.
Oh, you're Hank. How old are you?
4.5.
You're
Four and a half.
4.5.
Insane.
And so you, what are you doing here? Why'd you come here?
So I can give you some lunch.
You brought me lunch? You brought me lunch? Well, that was very nice of you.
Hank, did you bring me lunch?
No.
No.
That's okay.
It's okay.
That's
We
all
can
right.
Mallory and I will share.
Yes, we can share it.
Max is over here climbing on everything. And my
yes,
wife,
Max is here.
My wife is here too. Here,
And so is Jen.
Come here, dude. My wife is here too, kind of wrangling children.
He's got some great kicks on too. I don't know.
Thank you. He
Well,
really does. Look,
it runs in the
wave.
family. It runs in the
Fiona wave.
family.
Hi.
Yay!
And Hank, what's special about tomorrow?
Because I'm going back to school.
You're going back to school tomorrow?
School.
What grade are you? What class are you going to be in?
I'm going to be in pre-K 1.
Pre-K 1?
Oh my goodness. And Hank, I asked you this earlier, but you've got some friends in your class, right?
I know.
Like
I
who?
know. Who's your friends in your class?
Like Rion.
Like Rion, your friend Rion. Yeah.
Oh, you played T-ball with him.
Yeah, he was on your. What was the name of your T-ball team?
The Savannah
Bananas.
That's right.
Better than the real version of the bananas.
Oh yeah.
Bananas.
And so who are? Okay, be careful. Don't fall off the chair. Who are your who are your teachers in pre-K 1? You can move that down. It's good job. You're pro. Who are your teachers?
Just
in
a
pre-K 1?
natural.
Who are your teachers?
Miss Gladys and Miss Sam.
Miss Gladys and Miss Sam. Are you excited to go to pre-K 1?
Yes.
Has it been a fun summer?
Yes.
He was telling me that he took a trip to the beach last week. How was that?
Awesome.
Awesome.
What was your favorite part of the beach?
Playing in the sand.
Playing in the sand?
I
That's
heard he got a
awesome.
little bit of a sunburn, but he
Did you
said
get a
he
little bit
was
of
okay.
sunburn, but you're okay?
Yeah.
Where did
Yeah.
you eat? What was your favorite food?
Do you remember? Okay, we're spinning.
Didn't y'all
We
go
shouldn't have put him in a spinning chair.
in a spinning chair?
That
That was my fault. That was my fault.
I don't think we have non-spinning chairs. Hey, Hank, can you come back over here and talk into the microphone?
Pickle suggested because Pickle summers,
yeah.
they
They
summer
summer.
in Port Aransas all the time. So I was curious, where did y'all go to eat? She suggested some place for y'all.
Hank, where did we eat? Do you remember what it was called? You don't remember? It was called Snoopy's.
Snoopy's.
And then
And what did you get there?
I got a cheeseburger.
A cheeseburger. And then did you what did we go after Snoopy's? Do you remember? You remember? It's called Scoopies.
Scoopies.
That sounds like an ice cream place. Was that ice cream?
That's the surprise.
It was a surprise.
Oh,
yeah,
it was a surprise.
We went to dinner, and then if we're good at dinner, then we get a surprise.
Surprise.
What kind of ice cream did you get?
I got rainbow sherbet.
Rainbow
sherbet.
sherbet.
All
That's
right.
one of my favorite flavors too,
Oh, yeah.
Hank.
So
can't go wrong.
Hank, what else did you do fun this summer? It's going great. Hank, we're gonna work on your broadcasting skills. This is fine. You just need to project. Yeah, spin on around.
Hank, what do you think about Mount Pleasant coming in the new season?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Mount Pleasant? Are they good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So what other fun things did you do this summer?
I went to the lake.
There
You
go.
went to the lake. That's
Pro.
right. And did you see your grandparents?
Yes.
Who are your grandparents?
Lily and Poppy.
Lily and Poppy. Who are your
Yeah.
other grandparents? Do you remember?
Dee Dee and Papa Bear.
Dee Dee and Papa Bear. That's right. Yeah. So you got to see all of them, didn't you?
What lake did you go to? I'm
Cedar
curious.
Creek.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, out east.
What'd you do at the lake?
Did
We
we?
went fishing for a catfish.
Did you catch one?
A catfish.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a catfish? Did you catch it? You did?
And it was dancing.
It was
on its
dancing.
tail.
What'd it look like? Was it wiggling? Yeah.
It was dancing on its tail.
I bet you're a better dancer than the catfish.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Hank, thank you for lunch.
Thanks
And
for being on the
You're
show.
welcome.
Are you excited to go to school tomorrow?
Yes.
But it was a good summer. Okay. You want to come wave bye, buddy?
Yes.
Okay, come here. You can wave bye. Can you wave? Say bye.
Can you wave?
Can you wave?
Bye.
Can you say hi to Mallory?
Hi.
Bye.
He's
Good
waving.
job.
He's waving.
Hank, can you say let's start the show?
Let's start the show.
Pickle. Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. Yes, buddy. Bye. Love you. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today, a show that is more than just a pre-show. My name is Greg Tepper, although I think there's people who wish it wasn't. It wasn't more than just a pre-show. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places. Max is banging on the glass now.
Hey, he wants to come back
Or you're
in.
listening to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is my Mal pal. She's your Mal pal. She's our Chase Daniel. She's Mallory Hartley.
Howdy, howdy. Good to be here. Usually I'm the special guest on this show.
I know. Normally
Hank
you-
trumps that by a mile.
Yes.
Hank trumps that by a mile.
We brought in Hank and Max, and my wife Jen was here too. She made an appearance. She waved, stuff like that. But Hank has been on the show, but never. I don't think he's been on the show in studio
Or by himself.
or by
right?
himself. Certainly
That was
not
like
sitting
a
in the
big
chair.
milestone.
Because he, like, whenever we were doing like remote stuff, when we were COVIDing, he would show up every once in a while because he'd
Right.
just break into my office. But anyway, I appreciate them. Bye, Hank. Bye, Mommy. Bye, Max. Today is Tuesday, August 8th, 2020, 307 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Whataburger.
Whataburger! It's National Whataburger Day.
Well, it
If you
should
didn't
be.
know.
Feels like
You know what? Every day should be National
I was
Whataburger
going to
Day.
say.
73rd birthday.
Is today's
of
they're 73?
Whataburger.
Yeah.
Yes. 73 years.
That was because 1950. So they're older. They're
older
older
than
than us.
right.
Oh, I mean, you and I,
The-
yes.
correct, the
but
magazine.
Dave Campbell's.
Dave
too.
Campbell, correct.
It's hard to be a Texas institution that's older than Dave Campbell's, but Whataburger is it. Happy birthday to Whataburger. Do you know where? Let me ask you a little Whataburger trivia. Maybe you know this.
Okay.
Do you know where the first Whataburger was?
Oh, I do. I don't remember.
The first Whataburger, Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi. It's a Corpus Christi based.
Really?
Yeah, because I remember, because we went to my family and I went to Port Aransas last weekend.
That's right.
And so we were driving through Corpus, and I was like, by the way, home of Whataburger. So I just had all these fun facts from my in-laws who were just like, I mean, they like Whataburger. Anytime we come down, like, and especially my brother-in-law, anytime we come down, he's like, we are, like, I don't even want to see my nephews. we're going to Whataburger. So
What's your go-to order there?
I'm a patty melt guy.
Okay.
I'm a patty melt guy, but I will also say that honey
barbecue
honey
chicken.
barbecue chicken strip sandwich. I was gonna say
Yes.
honey butter chicken biscuit, which is
Which is
also
great
hits.
too. Yeah.
But if I want a burger, I'm doing the patty melt,
Uh-huh.
and if I want chicken, if I don't want a burger, then I will do the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich, which
Okay.
hits.
I do whenever it comes around each year, I get the barbecue or the buffalo chicken strip sandwich with the cheese on it.
Mm-hmm.
Dip it in some ranch.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's Whataburger for me.
Also, this is me. I'm a large fry guy.
Oh yeah, their fries are elite.
I ain't messing around with medium fries.
No.
I'm a
Their
growing boy.
fries are elite. No, it's all elite.
Anyway,
It's great food.
Happy birthday to
Happy
our
birthday,
friends at
Whataburger.
Whataburger. It's episode 1620 something?
Correct.
27. On today's show, folks, we planted a segment seed a year ago, and now we're going to harvest it. We're going to revisit my bold college football predictions from 2022 and see how I did. And then, back half of the show, while we were at coaching school in THSC at Coaching School and Convention in Houston, we caught up with the head coach of Mount Pleasant Tigers. Mount Pleasant Tigers?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that right.
Yes.
Coach Joe Cluley. I know Mount Vernon is the Tigers. Let me make sure I'm not angering everybody in Mount Pleasant. Yeah, they're the Tigers
because I got the logo.
That's what threw me off is that Mount Vernon is also the Tigers.
Right.
So it's like, yes, Mount Pleasant Tigers. Coach Joe Cluley coming off his first season there at Mount Pleasant. We will hear from him coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Nick Morton, Tony Blaylock, Andrew Christensen, and how does Little Mermaid breathe without gills?
Great point.
Welcome back, fellas.
All right, Malpal. It's time to go out into the field because a year ago, in this very chair, I sat, and actually Pickle was sitting in that chair.
Yes.
You're doing a great job too.
Thank you.
But went out in the field and I sowed some seeds. I sowed some segment seeds, and I said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant these seeds, and I'm going to come back in 1 year, and I'm going to harvest them. And that is that I made 5 bold predictions for college football ahead of the 2022 season. 5 bold predictions. Now, the rules were they had to be bold. Your mileage may vary on that, but they had to be, can't be like Texas won't go winless. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
these are pretty bold.
And it had to be measurable. It had to be something that we could definitely say happened or didn't happen. So it can't be like A&M will be pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
It's got to be like a definitive answer.
Yeah, it's got to be like I couldn't say A&M will be pretty good. I would have to say A&M will win more than 8 games.
Right.
Or something like that. So it has to be bold and measurable. And so I made 5 predictions a year ago. And it's time to go reap what we sowed. We're going to go take a look at the 5 bold predictions I had in 2022. Let's go to a young Greg Tepper and see what he had to say for the first bold prediction. So I have 5 bold Texas college football predictions for the 2022 season, starting with
boom. The state of Texas will have 2 national semifinalists.
So we've got, how about that? The state of Texas will have 2 national semifinalists, and they damn sure did, Bob. They sure did. TCU, of course, was a national finalist, and eventually, but semifinalists as well. They made the college football playoff. First Texas team to ever make the college football playoff. They did that, and Mary Hardin Baylor made the Division III national semifinals.
Good one.
That's a check. Now, I did say if you go back and you watch it, we'll get to who I thought was going to be in there. I certainly mentioned Mary Hardin Baylor. I also thought Midwestern State had a chance to make it. Midwestern State, and then Angelo State as well. We thought there was a couple teams from the Lone Star Conference had an opportunity to make it there in the Division II ranks, but they don't ask you how, they ask you how many, and they got 2 Texas national semifinalists. So that's a win for old Greg. Listen, it's all going great. Nothing to worry about. Let's get to prediction number 2.
The state of Texas will have a Heisman finalist.
Wow!
So smart.
The state of Texas will have a Heisman finalist. And Max
You're
Duggan.
right.
Max Duggan.
All right, I'm curious though. Who'd you think it was going to be though?
Oh, I think you know who I thought it was going to be. Max Duggan. I nailed it.
Well.
Everyone knew that Max Duggan was going to become a household name.
Of course.
And I just sat here and I was a bold truth teller. I said, hey, just watch out for this quarterback. I know that he's kind of underachieved while he was been there, and we don't even know if he's going to win the starting job there at TCU. But, don't you worry. He's going to go and make it all the way to New York. Also Bijan Robinson.
Correct. There you go.
I mentioned it if you go watch the whole video, I definitely mentioned, I'm like, yeah, like the early
It's gonna
favorite here is
be
Bijan
Bijan
Robinson.
Robinson,
Like
right.
it's gonna be him.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, but maybe Quinn Ewers, maybe like I think I mentioned
Well, he was the only
yeah, I want
Texas
to
guy invited, right?
Oh, who? Max Duggan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. But then I also think I mentioned that I thought that the A&M quarterback would have like an outside shot if he had an opportunity to get in there. The freshman who's going to start this year, whose name is escaping me at the moment. The star from Bridgeland. Why am I blanking on
Oh, Connor Wigman.
Yeah,
Connor
Connor
Wigman.
Wigman. I thought Connor Wigman was an outside like dark
Okay,
horse as well.
yeah.
He could have done the Johnny football thing where he kind of gets in there and then goes nuts. But again, that's another win.
It's a win. It counts.
2-0. Mallory. Let Tepper cook. Let Tepper cook. I'm 2-0 in my college football predictions. I'm sure there's not an iceberg anywhere ahead. Let's go to prediction number 3.
Boom. Of the 12 FBS teams in Texas, 8 will be bowl eligible.
So.
It's a pretty big number.
Oh, my goodness. This guy doesn't miss. This guy doesn't miss. Of the 12, because now there's 13, of the 12 Texas FBS teams,
9.
8, I said that 8
You said
will
8, but
be
9 were actually bowl
bowl
eligible.
TCU, Texas, Texas Tech, Baylor. 4 from the Big 12, right?
Mhm.
We're already cruising. UTSA, that's 5. North Texas, that's 6.
Rice.
Rice, who got in, Rice is interesting. We'll leave them aside for now. So that's 6 for now. But then you
Houston.
had Texas A&M.
No, Houston.
I'm sorry, Houston and SMU. That's 8. It does count as 9 if you count Rice. Now, Rice was not bowl eligible. They finished 5 and 7.
Yeah.
But
They're smart.
because of the academic standards, which is kind of the tiebreaker whenever they need teams for bowls, they did go to a bowl. So 9 of the 12, I even undershot it. I was playing conservative.
You were. You knew this was going to happen. You were like,
Oh
oh,
my
I don't
gosh.
want to. I don't want to give
Mallory.
my secret away.
Mallory, 3-0. I'm just like,
On
basically
cloud
take what
9.
I'm saying to the bank. Okay?
Mhm.
Everything's going great for me, and there's nothing that can stop this freight train. Here's prediction number 4.
This is Texas's last season in the Big 12. Now, they're not supposed to leave until 2025.
Yes.
Eh.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Close.
So
You were just a year
basically,
off.
I was there, and at that point, it was still that they were going to stay in the league till 2025.
Mhm.
That they were going to go until the grant of rights expired, and they were going to move to the SEC starting in 2025. Texas was.
Mhm.
But I went super bold, and I said, this is the last year. They're going to move starting next year.
Mhm.
Incorrect. They will be playing in the Big 12 this year. But they did, if you want to give me partial credit, which don't, but if you want to give me partial credit,
They did
they did
announce
move
that,
up
Yes.
the exit date. That they
Yes.
aren't staying until 2025. And if you want to, again, if you want to give me partial credit, which again, do not, but the spirit of what I was saying was that they were not going to make it till the end of the grant of rights.
Right.
That is true. That is true, but I did say that 2022 would be Texas's last season in the Big 12. It was not. And so that is a miss. But look, nobody's perfect. I'm sure we're going to finish strong with the boldest and best and most locked and loaded prediction. Let's hit it.
Houston will become the first Texas team to be selected for the college football playoff, which means that they would fill the Cincinnati gap that was last year.
Okay. So yeah, this is an interesting little time capsule, and I found myself like I enjoy doing this segment honestly, not because it's just fun, but also because it's an interesting time capsule to go back to what we were thinking before the season. Because once the season gets going, like all these narratives get created, and we kind of forget what we were thinking going into it.
Right.
The narrative around Houston was that they were going to be the new Cincinnati.
Right.
That they were going to romp through the American Athletic Conference. They were going to roll into, and they were going to become the new team, the new group of 5 team to make the college football playoff.
Right.
They were loaded, and everything they had coming back, we all thought this was the year for Dana Holgerson's Cougars. And it became abundantly clear I would say in week 1,
Right.
when they went to UTSA and they needed triple overtime, was that it?
Yeah,
To
it was
beat-
triple overtime when they beat
beat
to beat
UTSA?
UTSA, and they did. They did beat UTSA, but I mean, they got it was close.
It showed some flaws, and at that
Yes.
point, I think all of us went like, "Uh-oh." And then the next week, they go to Tech and they lose, and that was one that we were like, that was a really important. If you think about it, we were talking about what a really important game that was for Houston, not just because they were going to, not just because they were going to be joining the Big 12, but also were they joining the Big 12 at that point? Maybe, I don't know. But
I think
also,
so.
but this was Joey McGuire's first year, and you need to go in there and get this win. Go in there and get this win. They lose that game, then they follow up and come home. And you remember what happened next?
Was that the Tulane game?
It was Kansas.
Kansas.
They came home and they lost by 18
right.
to Kansas.
at
That's
home.
like the Jalen
Right.
Daniels coming out party, and they got
Yep.
mowed down. And suddenly we're like, oh, this defense might stink.
Right.
Like this defense might stink. And then the next week they play the Bayou Bucket against Rice, and they won by a touchdown, and it was
That
real
was
tight.
close.
Then they lose to Tulane, and it was just like at that point. I mean, once they lost to Tech, they were out of the college football playoff conversation.
Right.
But it's so interesting to think back on that because there's one team. I feel like there's one team every year that we all hitch our wagon to that ends up kind of falling short. If you remember, in 2021, it was A&M. Put them on the cover of the magazine. They were we talked about they were national title contenders, and they had a super disappointing year. And last year's Houston's turn. That was it's just interesting now to think back on like all the playoff hype we had, and now that seems.
It seems
decades
so,
ago.
It seems so distant too with
Oh my
Houston now. I mean,
gosh.
like the same narrative this year. Like they go into the season playing UTSA first at
Yeah.
home, and that's going to really set the tone
And so,
for that
yeah.
Houston team.
And so Houston ends up going 7-5. They win their bowl game, go 8-5. But like, I think considering the expectations, just a huge disappointment. Now again, there was a Texas team in the playoff, just not the one anyone of us saw coming.
Right.
So overall,
Pretty good.
3-2 on my college football predictions.
Not bad.
Not bad.
3 2.5. I'll give you that little half.
Yeah,
Or 3.5 and 1.5.
I don't know. I'm gonna call it 3-2. Again, it has to be measurable, and
Yes.
by the measurables, I went 3-2. And so that is a look at my bowl predictions from a year ago, heading into the 2022 college football season. Coming up Thursday, do we have a show Thursday?
Yeah.
We do.
Oh, yeah. Pickle will
Yeah.
be back.
Coming up Thursday, my bold.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. I just realized Pickle and I are going to be out all day on Thursday. So,
do we have a show Friday?
yes.
Coming up Friday, my bold college football predictions for 2023. So stay tuned for that. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Now, a word from these goods and services.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
The Gambling Gauchos are a Texas Tech podcast serving you money lines, memes, and matador content on Twitter, YouTube, and StakeInThePlains.com.
Well, let's put it this way. They pay me off in tortillas, I'm going to shoot them right in the eye.
If you're looking for more Big 12 sports content from a host who wants a 25 tacos in 20 minutes and another that can provide a taco bites per minute analytical breakdown of the feed, then Rob and Kyle are the hosts for you. New episodes every Sunday and Thursday on the Republic of Football podcast feed.
Miss Hartley, while we were in Houston at the THSC Coaching School and Convention, we caught up with dozens of coaches. You can find all these on our YouTube page on TexasFootball.com. One of the coaches we caught up with, head coach, the Mount Pleasant Tigers, Coach Joe Cluley, entering his second season there out east at MP. Here is our conversation with Joe Cluley of Mount Pleasant here on Texas Football Today.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, back here at the Texas High School Coaches Association and Convention, here with the head coach of those Mount Pleasant Tigers, Coach Joe Cluley, my good friend. Coach, how are you, sir? It's
good, man. Great to see you. Thanks for having me on.
So I just had Stanford from Texas High over here, and he was telling us how bad they're going to be in 2023. Should I believe a word that he says?
I would not believe a word Coach Stanford has to say. Just in general, as a rule of thumb, but especially about that football team they have coming out. They are going to be really, really good.
All right. Well, let's talk about coaching school a little bit. I want to know how long is the drive from Mount Pleasant to Houston? How long?
So it was about 4 hours from Mount Pleasant to Houston, so significantly closer than my drive to Houston from Lubbock the last time I came down.
Okay, so you're a little closer.
I made it out better. Yes, sir.
Okay. How exciting is it to be? You are the son of a former Texas high school football coach. So I know you've been to a lot of coaching schools, and how exciting is it every year to come here and be a part of this convention?
This is, to me, and like Courtney and my wife, we talk about this all the time, this is the kickoff to football season. And all year you wait for football season to come, and we go through off season and all the hard stuff we do, but this is, to me, the pinnacle of what we do here in the state of Texas. If you could see what we're looking at with all the different coaches and from colleges and, of course, our great high school coaches and just the camaraderie that's here, it is absolutely second to none.
And the media dorks like me and Tepper here, we hang out. We try to make Dave Campbell's booth one of the places to go. We want all the head coaches to come by here at least once during their time here, and I think our operations staff does a pretty good job making this.
And I would say this: not only is Dave Campbell's kind of like the Bible of Texas high school football, and really moving towards basketball and collegiate stuff as well, but y'all's booth is always the move. If you can get in one of these seats, I had to beg my way in here today.
That's all right.
But that $20 I gave you paid off.
Yeah, that'll buy dinner here in a little while.
Right,
that's right. You mentioned our Ish has done a great job with our Texas basketball coverage, and Mount Pleasant. You guys on the boys and girls side had unbelievable basketball seasons.
Unbelievable years. I think we were like 37-1 in the girls and 34-1 with the boys. In fact, our head basketball coach is headed down here right now. So he wants to. He's never been to coaching school, so he wants to experience this as well. This is such a great environment.
It really is. It means football season is here, and we're talking ball. And
yes, sir.
Let's talk about those 2023 Mount Pleasant Tigers. I know last year, first year, transitional year,
yep.
and you guys were knocking on the door in a lot of games. And,
yep.
I feel like this year you guys have a chance to take a step forward. But what do you guys need to do to close that gap and go from being competitive to turn those close losses into wins in 2023?
I think a big part of it is leadership. We feel like our group of kids we have this year that have come back, Mason McMahon, our quarterback, Antez Jeffrey, I could name several, Ryder Marshall, Trevor Broach, Jonathan Amieva, all those guys I feel like have taken a huge step from a leadership standpoint, and I think that's the difference is when you get to the sidelines, coaches are going to preach what they preach, but when you can get your kids preaching what you preach to each other, I think you get the buy-in, you get the camaraderie, and that way when you go down 7, instead of everybody hanging their heads, they're going, hey, our defense, our offense is about to go out here and do their thing, and I think that's where we're at. We're on the cusp of that. Of course, you got to prove it in the games, but I'm really excited about our football team this year.
I noticed that, and I know it's just 7-on-7, right? But I noticed that when I watched y'all play in the Tyler 7-on-7 in that game, really close game against North Forney, you guys got down like 20-0 early, and then come all the way back and take the lead. And I didn't see anybody chirping at each other, hanging their heads. I know y'all didn't win that game, but I felt like that you really proud of that kind of growth from your kids.
I really have been proud of all of our 7-on-7 stuff, and we obviously didn't make it to the state 7-on-7, which was our ultimate goal. But seeing the growth in our kids, even from our first SQT to our second SQT, them understanding that the guy next to you, he may make a mistake, but he's working as hard as he can and doing the best. He's not trying to make a mistake. Let's lift that person up instead of beating them down. And anytime you come into a new situation, a new place, place, the culture always has to change. And that's kind of what we walked into. And so we're slowly trying to change it and trying to make it right. And when you have great kids, which we do, high character kids, which we do, you're eventually going to win football games. And that's our plan.
Now, you're the rare defensive guy who actually likes playing 7. Now, I don't know if you like all the rules about 7-on-7,
Yeah,
but you like to play. Why is 7-on-7 good for your program?
7-on-7 is important to us, and I think it's important. It should be important to everyone because it's about competing. It's about going out, and the rules are the rules, but they're the same for me and you. And let's go and let's compete. And just in 7-on-7, you get officials that call things different, just like you do from Friday night to Friday night, or just like you do from Thursday night to Thursday night. And to me, it's all about, are we going to go compete, or are we going to go lay down? And you see the competitive heartbeat of your kids, and you can talk about off season, but kids are different when they compete against other kids they don't know. And sometimes they don't compete as hard, and other times you get groups that compete harder. And I think right now our group competes harder against others than they do against themselves. And that's what I want to see, because on Friday night when it says Tigers across our chest, it doesn't say offense and defense. Mm-hmm. It just says the number and Tigers. And so we want to compete really, really hard. I think 7-on-7 brings that out.
All right. Now, you had a busy off season. You have a new little one.
Sir.
You've got you're surrounded by girls in that house. So
there ain't no doubt.
So now you're I'll tell you that I have 3 girls as well.
Right.
So one of my proudest moments as a dad was when my daughters were in elementary school. My 2 older daughters had a big argument about how many different ways a football team can score 9 points in a football game. Have you had any of those moments with your daughters? I know your daughters know the game.
They know
as
the
young
game.
as they are.
Yeah, they do. They know the game. I'll say this. I think the moments that I see, especially with now my youngest is 4-month-old.
Yeah,
me and Courtney would tell you we're not sure what we were thinking, but we had her. She's been great. But MJ and Kate are a little older, 6 and 10. And I'll say the coolest thing has been like as they have grown up around the game. I mean, they've been to hundreds of football games at this point between freshman and JV and varsity. Is the questions that you start getting asked. And so I love the questions of like, well, what does that mean? Like, why do you do this? And, why do you have the guys stand on the goal line with their toes on the white and their hands behind their back? And it's those questions that they start seeing what you're doing in off season and in season. They start asking the questions. I absolutely love it.
Are you waiting for them to start to fuss at a ref about a holding call? Are you waiting for it?
If they follow after their mom, they're already doing it.
Okay. Now, one more fun question for you here. Last year at coaching school, you made it a self-discovery. You discovered that the Kit Kat from Canada is better than the American Kit Kat.
Not even a question.
So I've got a couple. I've got a couple for you. How fired up? How fired up are you, or is Mrs. Cluley more fired up?
Miss Cluley is more fired up. They won't all make it to Miss Cluley, and that's okay. She knows that coming into it.
Okay.
Everybody's got to pay the tax, right?
Yeah.
So like, you bring them to me, you're my plug.
It's a transport
and then
tax.
Right, and then she has to pay the transport tax back to Mount Pleasant. So I get a 20% tax on them. I take 20%, and then she gets the other 80 to do with as she pleases.
Okay.
But there's no doubt that our friendship, the best part about it is not this, it's those Kit Kats you hook us up with.
Our good buddy Mike Roach was basically calling me a mule. A mule.
A Kit Kat mule.
Yeah,
that's right,
so,
for the Cluley family. We're all in, man.
So,
we're all in.
Coach, you are invited to our Dave Campbell social tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
So
I'll be there.
You can make it.
I'll
be there and hang out with the crew, and we'll have a good
Excited
time.
about it.
So,
yes, sir.
Good to see you, Coach.
Appreciate
congrats
it, man.
on
Good to see you,
2023. Good luck in 2023, and congrats for all that you've done, and good luck.
Thank you.
Appreciate what
man.
you do for student athletes in
Yes,
Texas.
sir. Yes, sir.
There is Joe Cluley, head coach of the Mount Pleasant Tigers, talking to Matt Stepp at the THSCA Coaching School and Convention in Houston. Excited to see what they do in year 2 there with out there in Mount Pleasant. 2-8 last year. I know that they've got big plans and eyes on a big leap here in 2023. We appreciate his time as always. Let's go over to Mallory Hartley for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
We'll be back live at 2 p.m. tomorrow, the Republic of Football. We took a couple weeks off just because we've been super busy at media days and stuff like that, but we will be back tomorrow, and we might be doing a movie review.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I heard this. I'm not gonna give it away.
Don't get away. But we're gonna watch it first. We're gonna see if it's appropriate to review live on the podcast.
ROF.
And we'll decide tomorrow.
So we will be. It's exciting. ROF tomorrow, and then we've also got TFT tomorrow. Greg Powers is going to be back for our recruiting segment. It's fun times here. We are also. So I don't know if this is interesting to you. I know it is, but I like saying that. So I was doing the numbers because I'm already starting my week 1 prep for Texas high school football. Do you know how many games there are in week 1 of the Texas high school football season? Across all classifications, all levels, public school and private school.
Okay, let me try and guess. So, how many total teams?
I'm not telling you
there?
that.
Okay. There are.
Oh, I should also let me start by saying this. I'm only counting games between varsity Texas teams. So, for example, there are some teams that are playing out-of-state teams. Canadians playing like Seminole, Oklahoma. That doesn't count for this.
Okay, so
and
Texas
also,
on Texas.
It's Texas on Texas and varsity on varsity because there's also you get down in the lower school levels like
are you going private school too?
Yeah, private school too. But in 6-man ranks, like sometimes you'll have like they'll play a JV team or something like that. We're not counting that. So,
okay, 764.
Great guess. 721.
Oh man, I was close.
721. There are 721
so many.
Texas high school teams games starting
That's
tomorrow.
Awesome.
We're going to preview every one of them. We're going to do 10 minutes on each game. We're going to start with
just
Chillicothe and Darrozette. We're doing that tomorrow on Texas Football Today. It's good for us. What a terrible podcast that would be if we just go like, all right, time for Morton and Tornillo. What do you think, Mallory?
You would have to go.
Do you know Arlington?
Weeks on weeks straight if you wanted to do that.
My God.
Like you would have had to start weeks ago too.
Do you know who Arlington opens with?
I don't.
Oh, what a terrible alum you are.
I am a bad alum. Who do they play first?
Arlington hosts Mesquite.
Oh, isn't Tepper? Step. Isn't Step going to that game, right? Or no, he's going to Mesquite Horn in Arlington. It's on Thursday night.
That's right. I think that's right.
Yeah. But good for them.
They are, yeah. And then Coppell will be hosting Saxe down the street at Buddy Eccles Field. Woo. You don't just walk into Buddy Eccles Field and get a win. Cowboy fight never dies. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Hank Tepper, Max Tepper, Jen Tepper, and Joe Cluley for being our guests. For Mallory Hartley, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. Go Rutgers.
Woo.
We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.